I lost my son Beau in Iraq. My son Beau was in Iraq. That's how I lost him. That's not how the president's son died. The death of those 3 American soldiers at the hands of terrorists funded by and supported by and coordinated by the Iranian government and, well, by extension, funded by the Biden administration, who sent billions of dollars to Iran. And then, of course, that money went to fund terror attacks that killed our soldiers. Well, President Joe Biden finally got around to calling the parents of one of those soldiers. And, well, he did what he always does in times like this. He made it all about himself.
President Biden calling Oneida and Sean Sanders, whose 24-year-old daughter Kennedy was killed in the attack.
I know, everybody, I know there's nothing anybody can say or do to ease the pain. I've been there.
Yes, sir, we understand.
The parents overcome with emotion when the president reveals how their daughter will be honored.
We're promoting her posthumously to sergeant.
Oh, wow. That is the best news I've heard today. Thank you so much.
I don't want to nitpick, but it's pronounced posthumously. And when somebody says a word like posthumously, like that, he said posthumously, it suggests that he's reading. He's reading a card, I think. No way to know for sure. Maybe he's always pronounced posthumously as posthumously. I'm pretty sure he's reading that. He's reading what he was told to say. Number one. Number two, can you imagine if Donald Trump at a time like this calling grieving parents of a member of the military that died because of his policies, if he said posthumously instead of posthumously, I'm pretty sure we'd have wall-to-wall coverage of what a jerk he is. So allow me for just 1 minute to tell you what a jerk Joe Biden is. But honestly, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Watch what he does next.
You don't know how much that means to us.
Oh, well, I tell you what, it means a lot to me. My son spent a year in Iraq until I lost him. And 1% of all these kids are the ones that take care of 99% of us.
By the way, I'm quite sure that he was reading a card in front of him and reading it poorly. 1% of these kids, that makes no sense. No, the members of the military represent 1% of the American population, and they take care of the 99% of us. That's the data point. That's the relevant thing to say. Now, 1% of these kids, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But let's focus on the real problem here. You saw it. I saw it. We all saw it. We see it all the time. I lost my son Beau in Iraq. My son Beau was in Iraq. That's how I lost him. That's not how the president's son died. He acts like his son died in combat. He acts like his son died the same way these incredible parents' child just died. Serving in combat and dying at the hands of the enemy. That's not what happened to Beau Biden. Beau Biden died in a hospital bed in Maryland. He had brain cancer. It's terrible. Why isn't that terrible enough? Yes, he served in Iraq. He didn't die in combat, and he didn't die at the hands of the enemy. And Joe Biden has been fact-checked on this over and over again. He has been corrected on this. He has been challenged on this. And he refuses, absolutely refuses to stop doing this. Here he was just the other day.
Donald Trump, when he was commander-in-chief, refused to visit a cemetery, U.S. cemetery outside of Paris for fallen American soldiers. And he referred to those heroes, and I quote, as suckers and losers. He actually said that. He said that. How dare he say that? How dare he talk about my son and all of us like that?
How dare he talk about my son like that? Acting like his son died in Normandy. By the way, that whole story is bogus. It's been denied by multiple witnesses on the record that Trump never even did that. But to score cheap political points attacking Donald Trump, or to score cheap empathy points with the parents of a fallen soldier, he will lie. He will lie no matter what. You don't believe me? Here, these guys, Snopes, these guys are left-wingers. These guys are those kind of fact checkers that support Democrats and liberals at any turn if they can. But even Snopes, headline, did Beau Biden die while serving in Iraq? Fact check. No, it's false. It's 100% false. Here's Joe Biden. Again, this one was, I think, about 2 years ago.
My son was a major, U.S. Army, lost him in Iraq. Service medal, Bronze Star, like you all about country. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
There he is, talking to troops in Japan, again, connecting with them, showing his empathy. Yeah, you know, I lost my son when he was serving in Iraq. It's a lie. It's a lie, and it's not the only thing he lies about. He lies about a ton of things. A while back, Admiral John Kirby, spokesperson for the National Security Council, he does the press briefing sometimes, he was asked by a reporter, giving multiple instances of things that the president has lied about. Why does he keep doing this? Well, John Kirby, why does he keep doing this?
John, in the past couple of weeks, the president has lied about being at Ground Zero the day after the September 11th attacks, falsely claimed he saw the Pittsburgh Bridge collapse, claimed his grandfather died in the hospital days before his birth. What is going on with the president? Is he just believing things that didn't happen did happen, or is he just randomly making stuff up?
The president was deeply touched and honored to be able to spend 9/11 with military members there in Alaska and some families, and was honored by their presence and the chance to make an important set of remarks about why we need to continue to remember that day. And he did that. And he spoke about a visit to Ground Zero, which he did participate in about a week or so after the event, and what that looked and what that smelled and what that felt like. And it had a visceral impact on him, as it did so many other Americans on that terrible day. And he's focused on making sure that an attack like that never happens again.
Not really an answer to the question, is it? The question, just to remind you, was, is he just rambling on and making things up, or does he actually believe these things are true? We didn't really get a straight answer to that. Again, another example, you remember after those fires in Maui, he decided to go get a trip to Maui and show his empathy by connecting with the people there. And, well, he sure did.
I don't want to compare difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home. Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday, and lightning struck at home on a little lake. It's outside of our home, not a lake, a big pond, and hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating ducts, the air conditioning duct. To make a long story short, I almost lost my wife, my 67 Corvette, and my cat. But all kidding aside, I watched the firefighters, the way they responded. You know, there's an old expression. I grew up right across the street from a fire hall in Claymont, Delaware.
Yeah, let's fact check this real fast. First of all, he did not see the firefighters doing their job because this was a kitchen fire that was put out within 20 minutes. By the time he got back to Delaware, it was well over. And, you know, he's talking to people who have just lost their homes and their children in fires. Their children are dead, burned in these horrific fires in Maui. And he's telling a personal anecdote about, you know, his Corvette coming close together. By the way, his Corvette was never in danger. It was a kitchen fire. Nowhere near his Corvette in the garage or all those classified documents he was keeping in there. What is wrong with him? And there's never any sort of repercussion from the media. In fact, here, he was praised. You know, he tells lies like this, and it's really his way of reaching out and touching the American people who are feeling pain.
You know, listen,
It's great to be here.
I understand from my colleagues in Hawaii that President Biden was very warmly received there. And I think also that the president has a unique capacity to connect with people and express empathy for what they've been going through.
There you go. You see? He tells a lie, falsely connecting himself to somebody else's grief and tragedy, And instead of being called out on the horrific emotional manipulation that his lie is meant to evoke, in fact, he's praised. He's praised for his empathy. Time magazine during the campaign, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the return of empathy when America needs it most. Associated Press, Biden's empathy shapes policy, but some voters don't feel it. Yeah, you stupid voters. Why don't you jump on board the empathy train? The Atlantic, Biden may be just the person America needs. A president should connect with who we are, but also make us better than who we are, even if he has to lie through his teeth to do it. And Forbes, how empathy defines Joe Biden. Well, I mean, there you go. He's not lying. He doesn't continue to repeat the same lie. He doesn't emotionally manipulate the parents of soldiers who just died because of his failed policies in the Middle East by lying to them and telling them that his son also died in the Middle East. No, that's just empathy. Thank God we have somebody with empathy back in the White House.